We are trying to factor trinomials where the a term is equal to 1. In other words, there is no number in front of the x squared. When we do this, the trinomial will be able to factor into two parentheses. And it will be x plus a number times x plus another number. The two numbers, when you multiply them, it will multiply to equal c. And when you add them, they will add to equal b. So we'll first begin with an example, example 1, x squared plus 10x plus 21. We want to first begin by setting up our two parentheses. And since there's no number in front of x squared, we know that the first terms are always going to be x and x. And then we want to find two numbers that multiply to equal 21 and add to equal 10. So what are your factors of 21? 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. And which one of those combinations will add to equal 10? Of course, that's 3 plus 7. So that would be a positive 3 and a positive 7. So our answer is x plus 3 times x plus 7. And now it does not matter in this case which order the 3 and the 7 are in. You could have said x plus 7, x plus 3, and that would have still been the correct answer. Another example, x squared minus 4x minus 12. Again, you set up your parentheses. X goes in the first slots. And then you want to find two numbers that multiply to equal negative 12 and add to equal negative 4. Now your possibilities, negative 1 and 12, or you can say 1 and negative 12. Negative 2 and 6, or 2 and negative 6. Negative 3 and 4, or 3 and negative 4. You want to list out all your possibilities, and then which one would add to equal negative 4. That would be 2 plus a negative 6. So those are your two numbers that you're putting in the parentheses, a positive 2 and a minus 6. And for any of these, it's a good thing to check your work. To check, you would be using FOIL. And if you get the same polynomial back than what you started with, then it's correct. So we would do FOIL. That's first times first, multiply your outsides, insides, and then your last terms. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. 2 times x is a positive 2x. And 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. And when we combine our like terms, we do get x squared minus 4x minus 12. So that's our correct answer. If we got anything else, we would want to go back and try again. We had the wrong numbers. We'd want to go back and try again. And then in our last example, we notice this one looks a little different because there is a number in front of the x squared. So the first thing you always want to do is check to see if there is a GCF, a greatest common factor. The greatest common factor between 3x squared, 6xy, and 9y squared is a 3. So we are dividing each term by 3. And then write what we have left over after we divide inside parentheses. That's x squared minus 2xy minus 3y squared. And then we can continue to factor by breaking this into two parentheses, leaving the 3 on the outside. My first term is x squared, so that will be an x and an x. And then I'm looking for two numbers that will multiply to equal negative 3y squared, but add to equal a negative 2y. Well, your only possibilities, 3 is prime, so the only possibilities are a positive y and a negative 3y. And the y goes along with the 3 and the 1 because that has to multiply to equal negative 3y squared. So 3 times x plus y times x minus 3y is our final answer. And of course, you can check that using FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3y is negative 3xy. Y times x is xy. And y times negative 3y is 3y